I have been thinking a lot lately about the things we wish we had said. A few people around me are grieving right now, and beneath the sadness, I keep hearing the same questions. What if I had answered the phone? What if I had visited one more time? What if I had said, I love you one more time and made sure they knew how much they meant to me? Grief has a way of taking us back through the smallest moments. The conversation we cut short, the visit we postponed, the words we assumed we would have time to say later. And suddenly, moments that were once simply part of life began to feel like evidence against us. We replay them, we rewrite them. We imagine the version in which we said the perfect thing, noticed what we could not have known, or somehow understood that time was already running out. And alongside the sadness of losing someone, we began carrying regret for all the ways we were imperfect with them. When we are hurting, we may forget that relationships are not lived with the awareness that every moment could be the last. They are lived inside everyday life. Days when we're tired, distracted, struggling, just being human. I think the mind sometimes returns to these moments because regret gives us somewhere to place the pain. If we can convince ourselves that we should have known, should have called, or should have done something differently, then perhaps the loss feels less senseless. Blaming ourselves can create the illusion that the ending was somehow within our control. Because accepting that we did not know and could not have known asks us to face something even harder. That sometimes life changes forever without giving us time to prepare. I understand this kind of regret because I carried it too. My sister was visiting me, and on the Friday evening, we were sitting in my living room talking when my dad called. I looked at my phone and I chose not to answer it. 48 hours later, I received the call that he had passed. And for years, I returned to that unanswered phone call. I wondered whether that might have been the moment he finally acknowledged what had happened between us. Maybe he would have tried to make it right. Maybe he would have told me he loved me. I will never know. And I think that is one of the hardest parts of grief. It does not only leave us missing the person, it can leave us grieving the conversation we believed we might still have. But the truth is, when I looked at that phone on Friday night, I did not know it was the last call. I thought there would be another day, another chance, another moment in which the story between us might change. So you see, we judge the person we were then with knowledge that only came afterward. But hindsight is not the proof that we failed. It is knowledge that we received too late to use. And I think for me, that unanswered call eventually became much larger than the call itself. In the last 2 years of my dad's life, he had started to feel like the father I could believe in. I had begun to hope that maybe we could still have the relationship I had always wanted with him. So when he died, I was not only grieving the man I had lost, I was grieving the future I thought we might eventually have. I felt cheated of the possibilities that had only just begun to open between us. And that is what the missed call came to represent for me. Not only the call I did not answer, but every conversation I would now never get to have. Maybe that is what your regret is carrying too. Not only the words you wish you had said, but the birthdays you thought you would celebrate together, the visit you assumed you would make, the apology you hoped might come, the years you believed were still ahead. Grief does not only take the person, it can also take the future we had quietly imagined with them. And when that future disappears, the mind often returns to one moment and asks us to believe that everything might have been different if only we had answered, visited, stayed longer, or said more. But one moment cannot carry the entire truth of a relationship. We often measure our love by the moment we regret most, because it is the moment we can no longer change. But love was never contained in one phone call, one visit, or one goodbye. It lived across the whole relationship, including the imperfect parts. Perhaps you did miss the call. Perhaps you did leave something unsaid. Perhaps there are choices you would make differently now. You do not have to deny those things in order to offer yourself compassion and grace. So this week, when the what ifs begin to rise, perhaps you can pause before letting them pull you into self-punishment and ask yourself, am I remembering the whole relationship? Or am I allowing one unfinished moment to speak for all the love that was there? You may still wish you had said more. You may always wish there had been one more conversation. But perhaps you can begin making room for two truths at once. You have regrets and you love them. One does not erase the other. Before I leave you today, I also want to share that Heart to Heart is a new Sunday series here on the channel. These will be shorter, quieter reflections on the moments and experiences that make us human. And as you go about the rest of your day, may you be kinder to yourself, dear soul, with so much love.